Doing bench in your garage without a spotter and without safety bars is super sketchy. I wanted to make sure I felt safe, just very intentional about the way I did it. I don't have the safety bars for my Rogue Fitness wall rack. I think they're like 350 bucks. Rogue, if you're watching this, you send me some safety bars, I will make a great review video. Benching without the safety bars, you need to be aware of what you're doing and not put yourself in a risky situation. I mean, I wouldn't recommend that you do it. I'm gonna do a couple things though to minimize my risk. One, I'm not using collars, so I'm gonna see if I get stuck with the weight on my chest, if I were to dump the weight. I've done this a few times when I first started lifting. I'm gonna lift well under my optimal lifting weight. So I'm not gonna be able to push all the way to failure either. The riskiest part about benching alone is gonna be if the bar comes up to your neck. I've only had this happen one time when I tried to come off my chest. This elbow collapsed and the bar came back like this. Press. So if that were to happen, one, I'm not using a weight close to my maximum weight. So even if something happened and this collapsed, I'm gonna keep the bar down around the chest. So I'm gonna be doing reps like this, not like this, which for optimal strength, you probably wanna be driving a bar path that comes from here to here. And for just engaging pec development, I think I can keep the bar path lower. With the lighter weights, if I were to get stuck under the bar, I can shift the weight to my legs, sit up, and set the bar on the ground. Okay, that was a little more awkward than I expected. Feeling the 135 pressing against my lower gut didn't feel good. I mean, no problem with 135, but I can definitely say 225 is gonna be pushing it. 315 is not gonna be even a possibility for that. I was gonna try dumping the weight, but it's gonna create a chaotic situation. I don't have any injuries right now. I wanna keep everything copacetic. Day 4, working out in my garage. Jordan Peterson has this thing he does where he says he is trying to speak the truth. I love that philosophy. I want to try and speak the truth in everything I do. And the hardest person to speak the truth to is yourself. If you find yourself saying things like, this isn't fair, I deserve better, how dare somebody treat me this way? That line of thinking is a manipulation on yourself. When you find yourself thinking like that, you are lying to yourself. That is your ego trying to make you feel less guilty or bad about the choices you made to get into the situation you're in. Because the truth is, you are 100% responsible for where you are at right now. And if you feel that it's unfair, the only person to blame is yourself. And when you're saying things like, how dare they do that to me? Or I don't deserve to be treated like this. What you're really saying is, it's not my fault. I did everything right. And yet I'm still getting treated unfairly by the universe or by these people. And that's a lie. I hate to say it, because the truth is you can eliminate that instantly by not accepting it, by cutting that off, by communicating better to them what's acceptable and putting down boundaries. It can be as simple as just choosing to think about the situation differently. Like, they don't treat you different. Your job doesn't treat you different. You don't act different. You just think about the situation differently. Now, instead of saying that's unfair, you start thinking of it as an opportunity, and you start thinking of it as a lesson. And then what can I learn from this lesson? So just to switch a perspective could be what you need. But in some situations, you might have to do more. Take responsibility analyze what you can do to change your situation and then make those changes. Because I do it all the time. I'll think all the hard work I've put in, and yet here I still am struggling. Why can't I have more money in my bank account? Why can't I work less and have more money? I know that is just my ego messing with me, and that the reason is because I haven't worked hard enough. I haven't put in the time and the effort. I've been too lazy. I need to master discipline and my work ethic. I need to be more like Goggins. I need to be able to put in 60 and 70-hour work weeks on my own personal grind. I need to work as hard for myself as I did for the man. As soon as I make that decision and put that work ethic forward, there's no doubt in my mind that unlimited abundance will be mine. But I haven't done it yet. I'm still working on it. And I'm still trying to hold myself accountable and be careful not to catch myself feeling sorry for myself for thinking those thoughts. And if I ever do, I try to eliminate them, neutralize them, and replace them with the right thought. I don't think the labels on food and the macros that are on those labels are accurate. There is some piece of information missing from the labels. Either they are flat out lying about the macros, or there's another macro that they're not putting on there, that they're not telling us about, that determines how efficient your body is going to handle the macros that are actually on the label. I don't know what it is. I'm not saying that's just my opinion. When I have tracked my macros the strictest, and I'm measuring everything and I'm being super precise, especially when I'm trying to eat snacks and treats and still hit my macros. So I'm trying to do high protein, low calorie. I'm eating a lot of fake sugar. It almost feels like you are taking in more calories somehow than what it shows in your macros, because my weight loss will always screech to a halt when that happens, when I start doing that. Like I'll be losing 1-2 pounds a week, then I start tracking super strict, and then I lose 1 pound a week. Then I start eating more and more low calorie, high protein snacks. I'm eating more and more artificial sugar and more processed foods to try to get all those macros in. And then my weight loss will start to be 1 pound to no pounds every week. Versus the times when I don't track macros and I just eat mostly unprocessed food, like a lot of meat, I have a feeling that there's less variance on the macros and there's less foreign pollutants. But as you eat more and more foods that come in a can or a box, then you're opening yourself up to more manipulation of the macronutrients on the box and potentially other ingredients that are slowing down the digestive and absorption process of those nutrients. That is just my opinion. That's not fact. I don't wipe down gym equipment. The gyms that I grew up working out in, nobody carried a towel with them. It wasn't until a couple years back when they tried to close down all the gyms that people started wiping down all the equipment in all the gyms. Now, if I go to a nice gym like Lifetime Fitness, they give you a towel. So in that case, if somebody's looking at me, I will wipe down equipment. If I drip sweat or blood on a piece of equipment, then I will wipe it down. Other than that, I'm sorry, but this is a gym. It is not a day spa. That's just my hot take. I don't care if you wipe it down, but I would prefer that you wipe it down before you use it. Don't worry about wiping it down after you use it, because I don't really want to wait while you run over and get towels and then come back and wipe it down and leave it all wet. If I want to wipe it down, I can wipe it down. But I don't have any problem with people that like to wipe down their equipment. Just like, when you go to the grocery store and there's that person that gets the little Clorox wipe and wipes down the handle of the grocery cart. I ain't that guy. I don't care. I like to think that living my life not being afraid of germs, I have developed a strong immune system and I don't get sick. So I will wipe down equipment if somebody's looking at me. Like if you're waiting for a piece of equipment and I'm using it and you look like the kind of person that wants me to wipe it down, I am kind of a people pleaser, and in some cases I will get pressured into going and wiping it down. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a jerk about it, but just my personal philosophy is I like to work out at gyms that are dirty and gritty. I like it when I hear weights clanging and loud noises and people are grunting. I don't like it when somebody bangs a weight and it scares me. You're like, what the heck? But I'm always looking. I want to see who is the guy clanging the weight and was it worth it? Like if you're going to clang loud weights, at least, do something impressive so that when I look over, I can be like, dang, dude, that's cool. When I was in the gyms back in the 90s, only a certain type of person was in the gym. most of the people in the gym were kind of meatheads or we're not germaphobes. We used to talk trash. That was part of the fun. You're supposed to know that it's not the goal to be the strongest person, because hopefully you have a friend or somebody in your group that is way stronger than you, and you realize you're never gonna be that strong no matter how hard you train. Maybe you're one of those lucky few people that can get that strong, but the idea is to keep improving your personal best, keep making gains over what you did last week. So when your buddies are talking trash to you, at the same time, when you get an extra rep or you get a new PR, they're the ones cheering you on the most. You know, they're the ones that are almost as excited as you, if not more, because they've been there struggling in the trenches with you. The people that I see in the gym on the daily, like, so when I'm going to the gym 6 days a week, there's a certain group of people you see in the gym every day. They go at the same time you do. And you start to feel like those are your people. Like if you notice one of them has dropped 10 pounds and they're getting more gains. I don't really talk to people in the gym, but in my mind, I think, bro, good job, dude. You're getting some gains. And I kind of want to go over and high five them. And I probably should do that more and be like, dude, you look like you're on a cut, dog. You look like you lost some weight and gained some muscle, you know? Because every once in a while somebody says that to me and I'm like, it makes my day. You know, you're like, nice, bro, thank you. If you're waiting for a piece of equipment, what is the best way to stand in line to be the next guy on that piece of equipment? What I tend to do most of the time is stand a little bit away and not face the piece of equipment, but be where I can see it out of my peripheral vision, so the person doesn't really notice that I'm waiting for that equipment. Because I don't want people to feel like I'm trying to rush them by standing right there next to them. But at the same time, I want to be close enough so if I see someone else walk up to the equipment, I can kind of walk closer, cut them off and throw my bag down and be like, oh, you want to use this next? You can work in with me. I've done that before where I'm waiting a little bit back and then the person gets off the equipment, somebody else swoops in. So you got to be close enough to eliminate that risk. The best way, what my son does, and this is pretty smooth, he works out at EOS, which is so crowded. You pretty much have to develop this skill or it's mind-numbing. You get like 2 or 3 people coming up to you every exercise asking you for if you're using this, if they can use that bar. He goes up to the dude and he'll be like, hey man, you care if I use this when you're done? And he'll put his bag down and everyone's always like, sure, I don't care. But it's just a way to like let them know that you call next on that equipment and not make them feel like you're sitting there stalking them. And if you go up and ask them how many sets they got left, sometimes that's fine with some people, but sometimes people take offense to that and they feel like you're rushing them. So I try not to ask how many sets they got. What's the protocol you use when you're waiting for a piece of equipment and you want to make sure you get next on it? Another thing I always do is when I ask somebody if I can use that piece of equipment or I talk to somebody in the gym, I always make sure and smile because you got your headphones on. You're in that intense state of mind. I'll flip a headphone off my ear and be like, hey, you care if I use that next after you're done? Because the last thing I want is to have that scowl music in my ear and be like, hey, can I use that when you're done? And be all aggressive, you know? So I try to make sure I don't come off that way. In your mind, when you're listening to that rage music and you got a crazy pump going, you feel intense. You got to be careful not to radiate that in everything you say or do when you interact with people. I hope you are on your grind too. Hit that like and follow button. Come along for this journey with me. Next 30 days, I'm posting every day. More cool stuff to come.